In this video I have another Pioneer SX450. This is the one I used to use as my test amplifier for workshop repairs. I bought this a long time ago, I think for $11 at the tip shop. And it's actually, I didn't realise it was quite so rusty. That was in the workshop or in the garage here for quite a while. May have already been like that, I can't remember. I never really saw much of it other than the front of it. But it's also possible that sitting in the garage here it got like that, and I think from memory one of these ends was actually, yeah, it looks like I re-drilled it. Actually had the wrong end on it or something, and there is a bit of missing, I don't think it's much good anyway, a bit of the vinyl that's peeled off there, fake wood grain. I think that can go in the bin. It's really not worth saving. So it's actually not a lot better looking than the other one, and I did modify this recently, or more recently, just to run the light globes only, so I didn't have to put a power cord on it, and I was running it off a 12-volt lighting system because I was just using it purely for the display. But this had it, originally when I bought it, had a faulty power switch in it, and I just bypassed it because I used to switch my bench on and off, which I still do. Always a good idea just to switch the whole test bench off when you're not using it, and that way you don't leave any soldering irons or anything running accidentally. But we'll take a look at this, and yeah, it's not as good a condition as I thought. Might be able to pinch the end off that other one I got, the rusty one that I did a video on recently, or maybe 6 months ago or something, who knows. But this was all running fine. Looks like I've removed the antenna socket or something to run my wires through the back to the lamps. I don't think I changed the lamps or anything. I think I just cut the wiring off the power transformer and soldered a couple of wires on or whatever to go out the back of the unit. Hopefully I didn't do too much changing of it, but this thing sat around for years doing nothing, so I decided I might as well at least use it as a display piece. But I can soon respray that, I guess, whether I can get quite, looks like a bit of a hammer-tony kind of finish on there, the lumpy paint. But you can buy that stuff from places like Bunnings, I think. Oh yeah, here I've hooked into the, whoops, we've got getting mixed up with the dial cord a bit there. Looks like we've got still one wire going back to the transformer. Oh, actually, we've got, looks like I've replaced one of the globes with a small one. Oh, that was, yeah, that was in there. What was that one? Oh, that was the power light, I think. Yeah, power. And did I hook up the stereo? No, the stereo one wasn't running. So I've just got to find where I can compare that to the other one. Find where the other side from the transformer went to the lamps. I would have thought I'd leave an obvious wire there, but I can't see it at the moment. So there it goes to that pin on the transformer. Oh yeah, it's soldered on there. I wonder if it came off the one next to it or something. Oh, actually we've still got a connection down. Oh, that's for the stereo one. Don't think I've got any, oh here it is. It's a blue wire here with the end hanging off it. That would have been originally under one of these little twist things. I think that's what they had in the factory. Man, it's got some dust in it. Needs a good clean. But the main thing is, what was the power switch? It's actually like part of a potentiometer, the green thing down in there. So this other one had a good one from memory. This is the other one. And yeah, equally rusty, well, probably worse, rusty top. The ends are damaged on the vinyl. And that one, so yeah, it's a bit here and there, which is the best of them. But it's probably possible to peel these edge bits off with a knife blade if need be. That one's upside down. Oh, it's missing the top by the look of it. These ones are actually thicker. I wonder if someone put the completely wrong ends on my one. Oh. What was this? Music Tech. Servicing electronic music systems. I think the people might have been the last people to work on it, but whether they put the different end on it, not too sure what's going on there. But yeah, these other ones seem to be a bit thicker. It'd be nice to actually get rid of them, replace them with something more modern, but if I'm going to get it back to original condition, you do want the original vinyl, I think, so I might be able to get something to recoat that. It's pretty rough, a whole lot of it wants redoing, I think. But for a lot of people, as long as the front of it looks alright, you're not going to see the rest anyway, probably most of the time. It'll be under something. And I forget what I actually found with this, but I think this thing was basically running in the end. I can't really remember. But it is certainly rusted. Top cover on this one's awful. But they're both SX450s, so they should be the same. But wow, they're actually quite different inside. As far as the heatsink goes anyway, the tuner looks to be the same. But the power board there, they've actually changed it quite a bit, I think. And yeah, even the main switching and stuff. Yeah, the sockets. Oh wait, this has got two American style sockets, and a power cord. Whereas the other one's got a IEC socket on the back and a fuse panel or something down there. Well, so much for these being the same model. And that's what I thought. This has one of these grey square ones like I just saw in the Pi unit. So it's actually got a different selector set up there. Hopefully the board, the speaker switch bit's the same. Wow. Well, that's a bit of a pain in the... Yeah, even that switch... What does that switch do? FM de-emphasis. Other one has not got an FM de-emphasis switch. This one's got... Oh, it's got... Oh, what's this one got? Oh, it's got a 75 ohm socket up here. This one's just got ground. That's got the ground in about the same spot. Phono auxiliary input. Can barely read it on that one. Nearly as rusty down the bottom as well. That's an SX450 made in Japan. SX450, yeah, also made in Japan. Even a different colour print on the back. So that's interesting. These are quite a bit different. So that's the two of them. And yeah, the mains bit is quite different. That's got a fuse holder thing there, or whatever it is. We've got a power cord here, voltage selector over there, two American sockets. Switched outputs basically, IEC socket and nothing else, and yeah, FM thing different. That's got white writing on it, that's got green writing on it. AC 130 watts, AC, that's 220, 240 volts. This is 110, 120, 220, 240. So this is a more international model, maybe. Something's a bit different. And always the way. So this one's got the big, like a U-shaped heatsink that comes up the other side, some sort of temperature sensor or something. No writing on the board in this area. FM's largely the same, I think. We've got a big wafer switch there, yeah, banker full switches, pots, HA chips. Yeah, I think it's generally the same. The tuner board very similar anyway. Even got that AWA-E thing there. The other one, yeah, completely different power switch. It's got a terminal thing here with a filter cap across the switch or something. Mains suppression cap type thing on a ceramic. Is it ceramic? No, it's just white plastic, I think. The lamps are basically the same, I think. Big nice weight, counterweight on the tuning. Well, not really counterweight, just weight. This has got 3AG fuses, that's got M205 fuses, and of course the transformer number is probably different because the other one has more, I say, silver heatsink, not a black one. Doesn't have the front bit coming up, it's got the sensor things down on it, and obviously we've got more taps and yeah, larger fuses, the older style fuses in there, and a completely different main switch, but the overall switch assembly may fit in the same hole. Is that actually circuit board mounted? I think it is. So even when you get the same models, they're not really the same, and you know, real pain when you find all these differences. But it looks like they made a possibly just like an Australian and maybe European model for 240 volts, and also one for the American market as well. You'd think they would have made them all multi-voltage, as most people did in those days, so that you could send them anywhere in the world. It's not like it's got TV standards or anything. FM bands are the same normally. Better check that. Let's see what the writing is on the FM as well. But yeah, that's our mains switch, the speaker switching part of it. Quite a bit of stuff there. This one has megahertz and time 10 kilohertz, 108, 160. Yeah, same dial, I think. So I need to check that this bit's the same. Looks like we might have some circuit board numbers here too. They'll be interesting to compare. So not a good start really. Another job that should take 5 minutes. Well, probably a little bit more by the time you mess around, but not too long. Shouldn't need any brain power at all, and turns out these things aren't quite the same. Hopefully the circuit boards are roughly the same, but it's also possible they couldn't get another batch of the same switches or something, or maybe that one's just different to meet different standards and different voltages, different current, I don't know. I guess if you switch 110 volt you probably need a higher current switch, since it's only half the voltage for the same power. Okay, what do we got here? That's an ANP 582O, AMP 582C, CMK 7HEB. That doesn't have a second number. What do we got here? CMK 7EHB. 7HEB. It's a slightly different writing, but looks very much like the same board. Yeah, I don't know what they've changed, if anything, there. And the power board, thankfully, this one also has a row 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 switch positions. 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 6, so 12 again. The fuse bits even look the same. That's an AMP 581A, AMP 596O, TP3FS, TP3FS, so that bit's the same. And it does look almost, if not identical, underneath. So it's just the fuse holders. This one's got the same holes for wider or shorter ones. So I think we're in luck. So I think I might try and extract a switch out of this other one. And see how much of a job. I think we have to take all the, oh bloody hell, knobs off. Oh, if they'll come off. Okay. And then we should be able to get the front of it somehow. Looks like a metal bracket around the edge, is that it? Or has that nothing to do with it? No. it's actually got a great big nut on this one. And it's a bit bent as well, so it's not the ideal power switch as a replacement. But, oh yeah, that one's screwed on as well, other end. So that's part of what's holding the front panel. I was going to say where's the screws at the bottom, but that's the screws at the bottom. Let's hope the other one's the same, I guess. Probably shouldn't go much further until I've checked the other one. Oh yeah, I can see under the knob of the other one. Yeah, that's got the same sort of mount coming out the front, so that's a good sign. It's probably just a little switch mech on the back's different. And like, it doesn't matter. So that's the front of it. 5227. Well, I don't think it was made in 1952, so I don't know what that means. Not quite sure what's going on there. Do I have to take this sub panel off? Hopefully not. Maybe. I think we might. So I'm not sure how this is really attached, but I think I'm going to have to take this black bit off. End and one pot to undo, and hopefully that comes off. What's the radio? Ah, it's a radio dial under that. What are you doing there? Oh, there's another screw down in there. Try and get that without messing up the dial cord. And we have to try and, oh, so the actual dial pointer slides in this thing by the look of it. Ooh, I don't think this is easily going to come out. And there's more nuts under here. I was going to say that, oh, that other bit may not have to come out, but that piece is actually loose that was screwed to the other front panel. Yeah, that's no fun. Can we just lift that off though? Should be able to lift that up. Yeah, that's it. That's all you do. Lift that up. Probably sit it on that bit. Yeah, except it doesn't want to stay on that bit. It's under the cord at the other end as well. We should be able to jiggle it out though. Because with this shaft in the way, I'm going to have to slide it carefully over. That's it. So not the simplest thing on earth. I think we can just leave that sitting there. So that's what's bolted onto there. It's just a loose pot. And we do have a bracket here, which I think is going to have to come off as well. So this is a major disassembly job, of course. Couldn't have it any other way. And I think that bracket's loose besides the nuts on these other pots. So I forget what was wrong with this now, but at least I could fix this broken pot if I wanted to. So it's a bit of work to get apart. I'm not sure this one I'll bother putting back together at all. Is that bent? I think it is ever so slightly. Yeah, it's bent alright. God, it had to be bent on this one. The other point is I could. I do not like doing that because I know have these things suddenly snap off given the chance. The other option is I can probably just change the switch. It depends if all the mechanical bits are the same. Whether I can change the switch on the back. Well, let's unsolder it. It's got a lot of contacts that aren't used by the look of it, or at least pins that aren't. Look, we're off the board, but we've still got the power bit connected. And the dial cord in the way, there's a great big capacitor hanging off it. Of course, I think we'll just snip those wires. Can I get it out through the front? I can probably, well, it's not like I'm going to put this one back together, I don't think, but let's just get those wires loose out of the little clip. It's just the red and white one by the look of it. I've got a VU meter in the way, or signal strength meter, whatever it is. Can I get that out of there? What holds that on? I think I'm going to have to get that out of there. Some of this screw at the end, I think. Oh. So I'm going to have to take the whole radio dial off this thing. There, that moves the meter. And the question is, where's the dial cord? It's separate, I think, so I'm alright to take these little plastic bits off. Dial coil's attached to that bit though, isn't it? Just to make life difficult, can we get this? I'm going to take this plastic bit off, is what I should have done. Okay, let's get the lamps out of the way. Then we take these two screws, I assume. Something's moving. Take that out. Take that out. Ooh. Now we're in business. Almost get that right to the front. Now if you're going to put these back on, I guess you'd unsolder these two wires, in a way I may have to anyway. Just looking at this, and you can unscrew that end, and I was also thinking if it's just this part bent, I could unscrew this end. But I think that shaft is part of this aluminium bit here, which goes right through into the switch. And the one in the unit, it actually ends where that speaker switch wafer bit is, and goes into some sort of bracket by the look of it into the other switch. I mean, it may even be possible to repair this switch, but either way it's going to have to come out. And it looks like there's no nuts on the switch end. It almost looks like the shafts, these two metal shafts on the outside here that have got nuts on here, it looks like they've actually been screwed into the bracket bit on the end of that potentiometer type switch. But at the time I just wanted to use this as a test amp, like I said, so I didn't care about pulling the whole thing to bits. It was just get it going and use it basically. And like I say, I was switching power on and off at a circuit breaker anyway, so it'll be interesting to finally pull this thing out and actually have a look. We might have a look why the old switch failed, if we can get that apart and back together again. Okay, got this second one in pieces. Switch is loose, I've just got to unsolder the wires. Of course, one thing I didn't really think about is it's actually a double pole switch in that one, whereas these other ones, the multi-voltage one's only a single pole switch. So that's going to complicate things slightly. Not sure there's any particular safety reason or something they did that, but basically I have to bypass one half, which at the moment I've got the whole switch bypass, so it's not going to be any worse than that. Okay, yeah, so that's the little switch, Noble brand. I doubt it's broken on both sides, but it's interesting I've actually bypassed both sides, so I don't know if they were both faulty, maybe there's a mechanical issue. They seem to be joined and they're not, so one side probably was good. Maybe I'll sort of bypass a lot to be safe. I can say, here we go, that's alright. Oh, it goes under that little metal piece. That's now open, and that's still open. So I think that's correct. If one part's working, it must mechanically be right. So in theory, I could have just, maybe I should just do that, bypass if it's a single pole switch anyway. So I could have saved myself the, the hassle of pulling it all to bits. If one pole's still working, the other option is, like I say, should I pull that apart? Since we got another one, I could have just switched it there after all. But the problem is, if one pole's gone, is the other going to fail shortly after? And this is kind of the trouble with these things, you don't know. And what's another reason to have a look at why it's failed, if we can see. So it's just like a toggly switch bit in there. Take the little toggly bit out and everything's going to fall to bits. I can see, oh, there's like a couple of carbon bits. Well, they just, yeah, there's a couple of springs up in there. They're the bits that push across to push on the contacts. So just like little rounded end things that should sit in there. So I guess it's still possibly a mechanical issue where one of those is not touching or pressing the bit it should, but I doubt it. Just put that, can't get it to stay there, back together. Now these I think should lift out or something. They should just pivot in there. Yeah, it just lifts up. Oh yeah, one side's very, you can see it's been hot and it's blackened. You know, the other side's nearly, that's even worse. So they are in very poor condition. Both sides are in poor condition. Don't know why they'd get like that. Has someone really used this? But yeah, that's, I think, beyond it. It possibly could be repaired, cleaned up, but how long it'll last. That is very carbonated and got a big pit in the middle. Yeah, that side you can slightly pitted, but that's got a big bit of pitting. They're pretty shot compared to the other two sides of the connection, which are fine. Yeah, I think I'll replace it. I don't think it's worth messing around with this anymore. So I don't think there's much point putting a faulty part back in. And yeah, it looks like this other contact's been pretty hot by the look of it, unless it was just the way they made it. But yeah, it's pitting and stuff, definitely worth getting rid of, I think. Not worth putting back in because it's just too risky that it's going to fail again. And now that I've come this far, I'm definitely not going to put it back together. And yeah, completely different mechanism. Even the circuit board's a little corner bit missing. But the mechanical part of these things is completely different. Like I say, it would have been nice to fix that bent shaft. I still feel like I can bend that a bit more, but I'm not really game to put too much force into it. The fact it's aluminium means it should bend back, but it also means it will break easily. Maybe I should try it with a knob on it. See, I think we'll abandon that noble switch there, is not in a good way. Don't know if I can get that to at least hold back together so I don't lose any of the parts. Not that any of them are much good for anything. You could possibly make, because the contacts are hard, you could replace those little moving contact bits, but the other bits are what's really damaged, so I don't think it's even good for fixing if you had two of them. I doubt you can make one good one out of two even. And this one I didn't bother undoing the aluminium. Now that I know, I just took the bracket off and removed this meter. Oh yeah, our other issue is what do we do with all this wiring? Yeah, I normally don't like messing with the original wiring. If I can put it back to original, that's always the best option. So that's one of them, the orange, which I think switched to the green. The green comes up here, doesn't seem to connect to anything. Must be connected to the other green, I guess. The other green goes, oh, that goes to the voltage selector, I think. So that's probably basically the active in to that. So I could put the orange straight up to there, I guess, and just switch the other side, which is, I guess red is going to be the other side of the main socket. And the white wire, where does that go? I don't actually know. Ah, I think it goes to the fuses. So maybe we could reroute that wire straight into the fuse holder or something and just switch the other one. Never looked in here, so I guess we might as well have a look. Oh, it's just a single fuse. I was expecting a few, but then there are so many on the board, I guess not. So I guess that's designed so the consumer can replace the main fuse without having to access the main unit. 1.6 amp fuse. So that goes back up a yellow wire, which will be this yellow wire here most likely. Well, if I could connect to it. But we'll take the fuse out because transformers make lots of short circuits everywhere, just to see if that still connects. So that would be that. The white wire would go to there. So we could bypass the white, which went to the red. So if we brought that red wire straight down into the fuse holder, then we don't need to switch it. I think that might be a good option. Or take this white wire. Maybe it's easy to pull the white wire through and put it on the main socket. That's probably, since it goes under the panel and stuff, but getting it across here is going to be the fun bit. Fishing it out of there is going to be the fun bit. So red and white need to both come back. I mean, can we pull that back from here? We can. Okay, got the new switch partly installed. I just soldered it in a couple of end pins onto the board. While I had it out, I desoldered all the solder off these connections and re-stripped these wires, put them through, bent the little hook over so they're hooked on nicely mechanically, put them all back in their little cable holder there so they're out of the way. Although this yellow one's, even though it's in the cable holder, is a bit in the way. Probably moved a few things messing around trying to get that orange wire back and stuff. But yeah, basically the white wire now goes to the socket straight to the fuse holder. The red wire's been removed and we're just switching the orange and green together, and that should hopefully do it. So we can put like the meter and stuff back, I guess. Flick that under. Oh yeah, that's going under the dial cord there, so it is just a matter of flicking that the right way, and we're just going to watch this pointer. It's going who knows where. It should be above this thing. Yeah, I should have left that sitting up on there. And now this end wants to catch. I've got to get the whole dial cord down into this little trough, which should be able to do. Do I need to get that screw in first? Well, I can't really because the dial cord's in the way. This thing does not want to move. Twang it over that end, twang it over that end. And where does it sit? Does it sit on that black bit? Probably does. Slides along that, I think. Oh, I've got to get that. One screw. I'll put that bit in, put that bit in. They haven't dropped off or anything silly. Try and get this screw in without trapping the cord under it. Luckily it slipped over it. Now we're getting back together. I can get the battery drill and just screw all the dozens of black screws that go back into here. That has to be bolted on. Might as well get that out of the way now so that it can't get in a funny position and not reattach after I've put all the other screws in, because that's the sort of thing that happens. I guarantee if you put all the screws in, it'll somehow find a way not to come back through the hole. We'll give everything a bit of a quick clean, including the front panel, because with my hands all over that meter and stuff, there's bound to be fingerprints. Being careful of the pointer here. There's bound to be dust in here anyway. Don't think that really matters, but I'll give that a clean anyway. With the knobs off and everything, good chance to give this a clean. I probably did give it a slight clean when I put it on display mode, because it had been sitting in the garage on my old test bench for a long time, covered in dust. Got some of this old foam in here. You could take these buttons off and clean them, but I don't think they need it. So why don't I push them out and give them a clean? There's a bit of dust on the top. Oops, now I'm putting my finger on the thing. It's so easy to do while you're trying to hold things. Looks like there's a bit of a fingerprint there. I don't think I put that one there, but I might have. And you can sort of see it in the light. If there's anything left, there's a bit of dust there. I think that's mostly on the outside, but sure looks like it's on the inside. There's actual dust in between the plastic bits, which you'll never get out. And what I should do, might as well do the outer part of the sockets. They actually could do with a cotton bud in there to clean out the dust. Maybe I could just screw up a bit of paper in there. There's dust in the hole of the socket where the plug goes. And here's some of these pots. There's greasy stuff on the pots. That's attracted a lot of dust and stuck it there. Oh, that's right, the bottom of the front panel is held by a couple of nuts onto those little extension bits on the speaker switch and the function switch. On the socket, get in place. Yeah, that's it. Make sure you get the sockets where they should go. I guess we could even start screwing them back on. Keep everything in place. Right, carefully do these so as to not scratch the front. Should really use a nut driver or socket or whatever, just to make sure your pliers don't scratch anything. But this is only my old unit, so I'm not too fussed about it, but a slip in the wrong spot and you'll probably scratch off some of the screen printing, which would be bad. But even a socket you've got to be careful with. There's no guarantee you won't mark something. I've got to put the antenna socket back in place because I removed that to put some 12-volt wiring in. A few of the circuit board pads, little eyelet things, are, or donuts as they call them, I think, have fallen off, but they're only on the ones that aren't connected, so won't worry about that. It's pretty well mechanically attached. There's a fairly dry looking joint there. colour's not looking beautiful. So a good chance to go over the amp and stuff. There's another one there, probably on a resistor or something hot. That one doesn't look 100%, but that's from the factory, I think. The rest of it looks pretty good. Be a good chance, I guess, to check some of the hotter capacitors, like the ones around this. Another very hot running regulator transistor. Yeah, that one's actually, I missed the joint on that. They're starting to crack a little bit. Those are the sort of things that I would normally just, as routine maintenance, always resolder. And yeah, things like that capacitor. What's the other bit on the other side of that cap that feeds it? Yeah, 5-watt resistor. So that little group of caps are probably not going to be the happiest. Squeeze between a resistor and a transistor, both of which obviously run hot. That's one of them there, I think. That was the transistor. That must be that 220 mic. Well, it's actually perfect. I think that was another one. What other caps do we have there? There's a whole bunch of them somewhere. Oh, they're further away. So there's that one. There's another one right next to that resistor. 0.13, it's all good. Yeah, that one there. Maybe that must be the other one, I reckon, there. And possibly one there. It is, they're all measuring pretty good. Besides that, it's just a little one. There's another big one over here. 107, that's amazing. Still like new. Well, we have lights. Very dim ones. Oh, did I change? I'll probably change the voltage on those. Could be a problem. Because I was going to say, I don't know if these had 12-volt globes in them originally. I reckon I've put automotive ones in there, so that might not be too happy running those. Does have a fuse on there at least, but I might disconnect them for the minute. So this is the problem with altering things, is by the time you get around to putting them back again, you've completely forgotten what you actually did. Let's check the voltage there. I reckon it's 8 volts. Turn it back on. Most likely AC. Well, I kind of wanted that off anyway, but without actually taking it off. Yeah, 7.7 volts by the look of it. Come here. Yeah. So maybe they're even 6 volt. I'll just put that thing back on so I can't short on anything. So it looks like I have to restore the lamps. Well, I've got the other one. I don't think the other one had good lamps in it, but I can probably pinch them out of that potentially. Especially since they're all just wired together in these things. Maybe that's what I'll do. Okay, power back on. Of course, this, oh, do I have a power light? Don't even have a power light. Okay, I got this thing hooked back up. I put the lamps out of the other one in there. One doesn't work, but I thought I'd just wire it in for the moment and pinch the FM stereo light out of the other one to use as the power light in this. And we've got the FM stereo light up as well. But I have found that the volume control and the tape monitor are pretty dicky. Like I say, it hasn't been used for years, this thing. You've got one channel missing half the time. Scratchy volume. Other than that, I think we're kind of working. Oh, that's FM muting off. Oh, we're missing both channels now. Oh, because I'm on the wrong speaker. So speaker A, power off. Speaker B, ooh, lights are flickering a bit. Ooh, something's crackling in there. I was at the I'll stop now. Sometimes those IAC sockets are a bit iffy. The lights are coming good, so something's a bit, once I touch that it came good. So possibly the socket isn't in the best condition. Not sure how good that cord is, to be honest, but sitting in the garage for years, it probably didn't do it much good. So I need to get some switch cleaner into that volume control. Plenty of access from the top at least. And can I get both banks out? And the switches not so much. Probably have to give everything a bit of a clean. Tape monitor seems better. Oh, the power's going to sing again, I think. Hope this new switch isn't dodgy. Only thing I can really do is bypass the bloody switch. And see if that stops it happening. It is a bit intermittent, but we'll try it without the switching circuit. So all that effort and this switch has now decided to play up. It's just a little arc welder really. Put a clip lead across it, everything runs fine. As soon as you put the switch back in, now it's really bad. Listen to it. It's going to start smoking in a minute, I think. I can hear it crackling in there pretty badly. Oh, it is really arcing. So unfortunately did all that work for nothing. So maybe I would have been better off just using the good part of this other one, but I wouldn't trust that to last long either. But it looks like this one's just as shot. Now it's finally decided it's going to work. I could possibly remove that bit from the back without undoing everything again, but what a pain. I was actually thinking of getting this thing going and maybe selling it, because I don't really need it anymore, but it looks like it's still going to be a display piece at this rate, because I'm going to have to bypass the switch again. Even if I repair it, I mean, you can't really trust it probably. But it might be interesting to have a look. And see exactly what's going on with it. That's one nut. Not sure how long these wires are, probably not the best. And I'm not, is it going to come out with a fuse holder there? We'll find out, I guess. Guess we could always unsolder the fuse holder is quicker than getting the switch out. Yeah, there's a couple of washers on there, aren't there? One. That's two of them off. It's coming apart by the look of it, so there's something that just does come apart easily once you get it unbolted by the look of it. There's a couple of weird space here, now it's going to hit the fuse holder. I thought it would. light globe fuse is going to have to go, and the holder for it. Doesn't really want to let go. Let's hope this thing doesn't come apart in a way that drops parts out or anything. Now we've got that out of the way, fingers crossed it comes out. And we've got a capacitor hitting the dial cord, of course. Can we get the dial cord over that thing? Not easily. That's it. Shouldn't have sold it on so well now, but anyway. Oh, this one's actually Alps branded, which are normally pretty good quality. I've got to get these wires out of the little plastic thing that holds them. I think that green wire comes up to the nearby terminal box, so it should have enough length on there if I can get the orange one out. Okay, now we've got some length. Now this thing is starting to come apart, but what have we got in there and what's going to fall? Oh good, yeah, okay, that's the contact. Probably should, it doesn't matter which way you do it, I don't think. So what have we got? Just that pushes a sprung bit onto the other bit by the look of it. We should be able to get that off the other bit, and you can see how blackened it is there. So that's the bit comes up onto the underside of that, I guess. You've got a little springy bit that either pushes apart, so could it be a mechanical issue where it's not coming up? It's certainly seen better days. Wow, I don't know what it is with switches in these things, but yeah, it's lost quite a bit of its coating. The original metal. Might be able to get it to get the sort of crystalline surface off it. May get it back to life. They tend to get all pitted and rough. Might even need to file that off a bit because it's got a kind of high bit on one side, so yeah, I might even do that. Okay, I might use this little flat file and see if I can sort of get the original dome shape back a bit. Not sure how successful this will be. In the short term I'm sure it'll improve things, but don't know if it'll last. Oh, that's a bit. Still seems to be good metal there. So hopefully that'll stay good for a while. Shouldn't really file it over the unit, but there's not really much coming off, and I'll blow it out afterwards anyway. That one's getting back to copper, I think. The other one still has a silver coating on it. This is quite pitted. Ideally get rid of all the pitting in the middle, but I don't know if that's possible to completely remove it, because this is quite deep. I get there. But I'm getting kind of desperate now. I do have that other Pi receiver I fixed looked like it had the same power switch in it, so maybe I could change one out of that into this if I was ever going to sell it, because that's not going to get used other than as display. It'll be just left switched on and turned on and off at the power point. Yes, that goes under that one. About all I can really do with it. And maybe I should clean out that blackening in here. Clean that. Don't think it really matters, but it won't hurt. Now, which way around did it go? Does it matter? I guess it originally went that way, didn't it? So that must have been that side of it. Get these contacts back in place. Just slot in there. Except I've got that one above that one, which is not what we want. The long one goes below the other one. That doesn't seem to be, is that fitting in properly? Yeah, I think it is. And was it up that way or up the other way? Well, we can work it out again from the blackened bit. Yeah, and you can see where the pins, I think you can turn this up either way, but we want it to switch in the same way as before. Yeah, it was just mounted upside down, I think was the thing, with the cap that way. Yeah, no arcing. Nothing more than the usual turn on noise. How long that'll last, I'm not too sure, but oh well, maybe that'll be a project just to run this thing a bit and see what it does. See if it lasts. Actually, the lights were still on there, weren't they? What was that fuse I removed then? I don't know what that ran, but it runs without it. I assume we're missing something. Well, there you go. We didn't need that fuse at all. Well, that's weird. I forgot I even removed a fuse, and then I just saw it when I went to get the washers to put back on. Interesting. It goes to a green wire on the transformer, goes to a little link that goes into these. Well, that's that low voltage regulator, I would have thought. Well, I don't know. That is a bit weird. But that's electronics for you. You'd think something like this would be dead if I pulled a whole fuse out. Okay, so we've got our little piece. Yeah, of course, one side going straight on and the other one didn't go on at all. Oh, come on. Actually, oh, there's spaces. Yeah, I thought they were little. For a minute, I thought there was little things in there that went inside the switch. But no, they were to hold it out. Get that washer on. Push on there. Yeah, that one no problem. So the nut I'm going to have to get on the kind of difficult way. That's it, you just kind of get the hole sitting on the end of the shaft there and rotate this wire out of the way. Ah shit, I dropped it. Take two. This one's a bit more difficult because the transformer and everything's in the way, and human hands are too big for this sort of thing. You need dainty little fingers for these jobs. That's it. You just gotta get it on, get it at 90 degrees sort of thing, and start it turning. Quite a fiddly thing to do. And I'm pretty out of practice at that sort of thing. But I know it could be done because I've done it in the past. So that saved me at least replacing the whole thing. Even though to get this switch in here, obviously I had to change all the shaft and stuff to a different type. If it goes to show, if you've got the grey type switch, you can get in and clean it. File back the contacts and stuff. Now we'll see if it still works with everything in place. And put those wires back in their little clip. Probably doesn't matter that much, but should keep your 240 volt stuff dressed and tidy nicely. Yep, no crap. I still haven't put the fuse holder back in. Better do that. But so far no crackling or anything weird, and the fuse holder does have a couple of little tabs at one end which go on the outside of the fuse. So make sure you get them the right way around. Or you've got to unsolder them and put them in again. So this might work out in the end, but yeah, that was so weird that I actually bought it and tested it for that switch. I did a video on it before on that other one, and the switch worked perfectly, of course. Might have put the fuse back in while I'm at it. I think we can be held in pretty well. Okay, I'll solder that back in. Takes quite a bit of heat.
Out tonight. And I'm still like, I just love it so much. I say to people,
yeah, well, that all seems to be working, I think. I guess we should try an external source in it while I'm at it. Phono's humming, so that's probably working. Yeah, that seems to be working. I've got to change that lamp. I think I've still got a, lucky I've got some extra 8 volts for that Akai thing, I think, that Akai tuner. Yeah, even with Akai 8 volts, that's the Wagner WL1085, come in a bag of 5. I'll put a few extras because these literally are just wedge lamps. The ones that are in it originally, you can pull the little pins out. Well, you're meant to, if your fingernails will get under them. If you take this down, it's just literally the same, exact same globe pretty much. I'll probably squeeze the pins together a bit tighter so they fit out the rubber bit. I think if you just push them together a bit, and I'm not sure if they unsolder easily. It looked like it was moving. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it does pull out. They haven't wrapped it around or anything weird. And we'll just tin up the other pins. Hopefully they tin alright. I think they were a little difficult. Oh no, they're alright I think. So we've got the stereo light and power light up on FM there. Other lamp replaced. It's a little difficult to tin, or seemed to not want to tin, but when I stuck the wires to it, it stuck alright, so it's just a soldered in the centre stickers well and bridge across the two pins as I thought. It's a little brighter that one than the others, so it's probably slightly higher wattage. But at least they're not flickering now. So the whole reason of buying that other one didn't work out that well in the end. Unfortunately these things are getting old. But I think I've finally got this thing going fairly well. I better give all that a bit of a dust out. She's dusty as in there. I don't think it's ever been cleaned. And yeah, I checked the caps. Most of them still measure fine. I haven't checked everyone in it, but the ones I did check are all really good. Well, it certainly looks a bit better without the dust in it. Still a little bit in there, but it's mostly gone. Cleaned up this back panel, quite a bit of rust on it. And yeah, some of it needs a second clean because it's going a bit dusty again. Looked like I had that plastic clean, but it's not perfect. Got the antenna back on the right side. That just opens up and flips around wherever you want it. Probably not so much that way. Pioneer stamped on that, or moulded into it. So I think we can put the cover back on it. Though I'm going to have to get one of these covers, decide which one. I think this is the one off it, which is pretty horrible. And that's the one off the other one, which I think can go into scrap metal. That's got real blistery rust. That's well and truly had it. Because I don't think I'll be bothering putting the other one back together. That can be parted out now, I think. And I'll give that a bit of a play and see if that switch behaves itself. I think that should last for a while, but how long, I'm always a bit sus on those sort of things. It may go for 20 years or something, or it might get, 100 uses and it's burned out again. I think it would last a bit longer than that, but it depends, I guess, how much inrush current into the transformer and caps and stuff. That's the problem with a lot of these things. They do have a bit of a inrush, so they arc a bit. But yeah, so it looks like two different types of switches in these fail. That was an Alps one, which are normally very good quality, and this one was a Noble. But even those, I think, were used in a lot of televisions and stuff and weren't a problem. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, thanks for watching.